Everybody. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for joining in. And Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined and are about to join or would be watching this later on YouTube. Today, it's a very special session. And thank you so much, Mataji, for making time for us and really indulging us in this great divine pastime. And we are going to be diving into the ocean of the Lord, Jaganath's mercy, and enriching our hearts with his divine nectar. Thank you so much, Mataji, for preparing this session for us. We will have devotees joining in, but on Saturdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, we have the local program at the center. So once they finish their prasadam, they'll quickly join in. But at least we can start the session. Hare Krishna, over to you. Would you like us to do the Mangla Charan?
Yes, Mataji, that'll be great. Thank you.
Gayatri Mataji, would you like to do it for us? I feel when you do it, it's so beautiful. But if you can't, I can do it.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you can do it today, Mataji. Yesterday I did it. You can do it today, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you so much. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for your time. I hand over to you. Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful Mangalacharan, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do service and to do service of Lord Jagannath. I mean, where do we start with Lord Jagannath? But you know, by the mercy of my Guru, because without his mercy, I wouldn't have been able to do the service, and by the mercy of Lord Jagannath. And Radharani, hopefully they forgive my mistakes if I do make any mistakes. I have to say that I'm really not qualified to talk about Lord Jagannath, and whatever I'm saying today is things which I have been taught either by my guru or I have learned from the lessons. And there are so many wonderful, wonderful sessions by elevated devotees, some of whom whose classes I've also recently heard. I hope I will be able to hear, or rather, I hope I was able to learn something from their classes, which I'm only sharing with you. So it is absolutely nothing to do with me. It's only the nectar from the elevated devotees. And I'd like to mention two particular classes apart from a class by my Guru Gaur Maharaj, also a class by, Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, who gave some wonderful sessions. And recently I also had a class by Amala Manjari Mataji. So I'd like to thank them for, and hopefully I'll be able to do justice to what they have taught. Lord Jagannath, he's, again, I think the first thing we'd like to start with is why does preparing, or why does, when we think about the Rath Yatra and Lord Jagannath, why is it so special, and why does it make us feel so blissful? It's just that, time just passes, the whole day. I remember because it's very hot, usually quite hot in London time, where it never is, summer stays for about 2 seconds over here. But apart from one or two occasions, most of the Rath Yatras have been quite nice. The Rath Yatra days been quite hot, and at times you feel that, gosh, it's very, very hot over there, and you'll be there out the whole day, or if you're doing some kind of service since morning, and then the whole day would pass. But there are so many people doing service, and every single person has a smile on their face. Nobody cares about the sun. It was pouring one of the times. It was just absolutely pouring on Rath Yatra day. And the Rath was there in Trafalgar Square. It was pouring. There were, tents, and people were just singing and dancing. Nobody cared. There were some umbrellas, people hitting each other, but still smiling and dancing. So what is it about Rath Yatra and Lord Jagannath and his smiling face that is so special? It just, it's as if, every single thing. And when you speak to everybody, everyone has the same answer. I have no idea. I don't feel tiredness at all. Yes, I've been doing service for the whole day, or maybe from the previous days, maybe for the past week or so. Nobody feels any tiredness. Time just passes. And even if something goes wrong here and there, nobody just cares, because everyone's just happy just seeing Lord Jagannath. And it's as if the whole thing is completely organized by the Lord himself. Everything is decided by the Lord. Things may be in chaos, in pockets here and there, but everything somehow falls into place. And people don't remember. One year there was a bit of a prasad. There could have been a bit more prasadam. One year, the decoration could have been slightly better, but nobody really noticed that. Everyone came, they just saw the smiley faces of Lord Jagannath, Mother Subhadra, and Lord Balaram, and they were happy, and everyone went back home happy. So that is what so when we look forward to Rath Yatra every year, that is what we look forward to, that supreme bliss, that happiness that the whole thing brings to us. But does Rath Yatra really starts and ends on Rath Yatra day? We kind of think that no, it actually starts 15 days before that, prior to that. So there is the Snan Yatra. And in London, we have the Snan Yatra coming up tomorrow. So what is the significance of the Snan Yatra? And I'm sure they're in over there at you had your Rath Yatra last week, didn't you? So you will have had your Snan Yatra 15 days prior to that. So what is the significance of the Snan Yatra? It's not that the festival happens only on that day. It is a month-long festival that begins even before Snan Yatra. So the Snan Yatra happens on the Purnima, on the last day of the month of Jeshta. And it is on that day when the three lordships, Lord Jagannath, Mother Subhadra, and Lord Balaram, and also the Sudarshan Chakra, they were established in Puri. So it's as if it's the day of the Pran Pratishta of the lordships. So it is also considered the appearance day of Lord Jagannath. So that is what happens. So and it's said that, you know, the more the festival, because it goes on for such a long time, even on Snan Yatra day, and then there is the Netra Utsav day when their eyes are closed and then it's open. That is when the Pran Pratishta is done. So the lordships are invited to reside in the deity form. Otherwise, it's just basically wood statues. And then that's when the cloth is taken off from their eyes, and Lord Jagannath sees everybody. And the Lord is happy to see that. And with Lord Jagannath, every day is a festival. The Lord loves eating. The Lord loves to eat food. So whenever anything, so he makes sure that there are lots of festivals, main festival, mini festivals all around the Rath Yatra program. And the more the festivals, the more opportunities are there for lovely prasadam. And Lord Jagannath, we know, you know, from his various pastimes, Lord Jagannath eats sumptuously. And he has a voracious appetite. He just loves eating. And because he eats so much and so frequently, after taking food, it's almost like immediately he falls, you know, before the one round of food is finished, there's time to offer him the next round of food. And so it's said that Lord Jagannath's mouth and his hands, his little hands, they're always wet because he's always eating food. But of course, we know that the Lord can eat with any of his senses. So the Lord doesn't need his hands to take food. But what do we understand? So there's a saying in Jagannath Puri that, that's what they say, that, you know, throughout the day, Lord Jagannath's hand, his face would always be wet because he's always eating food. And similarly, we understand, and Maharaj was saying that similarly, we must understand that is exactly what is Jagannath trying to tell us. He's trying to tell us that love me in that same way. Your devotion towards me, that should be continuous. There shouldn't be any stop to your devotion. It can't be that you finish your 16 rounds in the morning and so the rest of the day you forget about Krishna. No, your devotion should be continuous and continuous. I was reading a quote, and I'll just read this out. Yesterday, there's in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur in verse 2.28.28, Vrindavan Thakur writes, Ki shoyane, ki bhojane, ki ba jagorane, ohor nisha chinta Krishna bolohabadane. And the translation being, whether you're sleeping, eating, or waking, day and night, think of Krishna and chant his name. So that is what Jagannath is trying to tell us, that, don't stop, don't do, pockets of devotional service on at any time of the day or at any particular time of the year. No, devotional service is continuous. And so keep that up, keep loving me. And so that is what that's something which we can perhaps understand from this. And so without Snan Yatra, there is no Rath Yatra. And you will have heard from, many times before, all of you will have heard that after the Snan Yatra, the Lord, he falls ill because he's bathed so many times out of love. He's bathed so many times. So the Lord develops a flu. However, he also, being the Lord, he also recovers from the flu very, very quickly. And then during this time, when he has this flu, he is repainted, in the background, he's repainted, he's given a lovely color. And so on the 16th day, following the Snan Yatra, there is the Natrots of ceremony, which is a much awaited ceremony, where the devotees who haven't had darshan of the Lord for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks, are waiting, with breathlessly to see the darshan of Jagannath. And more importantly, Jagannath is waiting to see the devotees, because he is more eager to see his devotees. And so that is when Lord Jaganath appears, and the Lord sees Jagannath, the Lord sees the devotees, and the devotees see the Lord. And it's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after one of these Snan Yatras, he was just missing Jagannath so much. Usually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to the temple and he would stand behind one of the pillars, etc. But this time, he just couldn't control himself. He just, rushed inside the temple because he was just so eager to see Jagannath. He hadn't seen Jagannath for more than 2 weeks. And it seems that, it said that Mahaprabhu's eyes were like bumblebees, and Lord Jagannath's big eyes were like blossoming lotus flowers. And then when all the devotees also saw him, it was like, they were feasting, the bumblebee was feasting on the honey from that lotus flower. So such is the attraction of seeing Lord's Jagannath. And so we say, Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me, just see me, just wherever, let it be, oh Jagannath, wherever I see, whichever way I look, let me just see you, because this is the Lord who never sleeps. He is so merciful. The most merciful deity form of Krishna is Lord Jagannath, Jagat Nath. So Jagat means the world, and Nath is the Lord. Now we also understand that there is this history of the Ratha, or the cart, being pulled from the Jagannath Puri temple to the Gundicha temple, and the Gundicha temple named after Queen Gundicha, whose husband was King Indradumna. And we know of the past time how King Indradumna, how he saw in a dream about the Neel Madhava. And can I check with all of you, does anyone know the story of the Neel Madhava? So when Krishna was killed, and then his heart could not be burned to ashes, and then the heart, Arjuna put the heart in a river, and along with the log, it went to a tribal area where the Sabara chief over there, he found the blue heart and established it, and then put it in, and somehow it was inside the Krishna statue over there, and then that the heart went in, and then that was the Neel Madhava statue. And King Indradumna, it's a big pastime saying it quickly. So King Indradumna saw about that in his dream, wanted it, sent his man Vidyapati to find it. Vidyapati somehow found it, married the chief's daughter, and then found it, and then came back to tell Indradyumna. And then when the king went to find the temple of Nilmadeva, along with his men, he found that deity has disappeared. The Nilmadeva had disappeared, you know, he again you know, saw in a dream where the Lord came to him in a very, very, you know, he wasn't very happy at all, and he said, you know, you shouldn't have done that. However, he said that if you really want to, you know, worship me, you will find a piece of log floating in the sea, and then make deities out of that. And that is how the three deities were made. But also there is the pastime where, you know, the deities were to be made, and Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods, he came to make the devotees, to carve the deities, but he told the king and the queen that please do not disturb me unless and until I finish carving the statues. However, the queen, after a few days, the queen actually got a bit concerned because she couldn't hear any noise from inside. There was no noise of any tools, of, you know, a person working with tools. And so although there was instructions from the architect of not entering the room, both the king and the queen opened the door. And when they opened the door, they found that there was nobody there. So the old man who was carving the statue, he wasn't there. And there were 3 statues half complete. And so you see the Lord with only a little bit of arm, with hardly any legs at all. And then they were you know, they were very, very regretful of what they have done, and they were, you know, panicking, they were crying, they were, you know, offering prayers and pleading guilty, and then asking for forgiveness. And then the Lord came to their dream again and said, don't worry about it, because this was meant to be. This is the form I had meant to come in. And there's a reason for it. And we'll come to the reason later on. But this was the form the Lord was meant to come in, where, you know, his hands, or he only had little hands, very big eyes, hardly any legs at all. And it said that, you know, Tulsidas, who wrote Ramcharitmanas, he was a great fan of Lord Rama. And then he was told, and, you know, the Lord came to his dream and said, there are just so many pastimes of Lord Jagannath. And it said that, you know, he saw in his dream that Lord Rama resides in Jagannath Puri. And so he came to the Jagannath Puri temple and he saw Lord Jagannath, and he was not interested. It's like, you know, I know you're the Lord, but you're not my Lord Ram. And so he left the temple and he was on his way back to, you know, leaving Jagannath Puri. And as he was leaving Jagannath Puri, just on the outskirts, you know, on the border, he sat down under a tree for a bit, you know, tired, just before leaving Puri. And then there was this little boy, again, this little boy, you know, little dark boy who comes along and tells him, oh, you know, you seem very tired. And Tulsidas was a bit kind of angry. Yeah, I just came, you know, I just made a trip for nothing. I came from so far. I thought, you know, there's my Lord Ram over here, because it's a town. Jagannath Puri is a town. However, I couldn't see my Lord Ram. And you know, yes, there is the lordship, but he has no legs, he has no arms. You know, my Lord Ram, he's holding his arrow in his, he's a king, he looks different. And so Tulsidas said, you know, I know he's the Lord, but I didn't see my Lord Ram. And to a devotee, because the relationship between Krishna and his devotee is so unique. So a devotee loves Krishna only in the way that that he wants to love Krishna or she wants to love Krishna. And Krishna allows that because it is a very, very one-to-one relationship. And so Tulsidas, being a great devotee, understood it's the Lord, but somehow he just did not, he wanted to see his Lord Ram. And so this little boy, he said, he reminded Tulsidas of a paragraph from his book, from Ramcharitmanas. He said, and Tulsidas was very surprised later when he reflects on it, but at the time he was just listening, mesmerized, listening to this little boy. And this boy, he quoted a verse from the Ramcharitmanas, where it's written, Tulsidas himself had written that the Lord does not need any hands to go anywhere. The Lord does not need any feet to go anywhere. The Lord is everywhere. The Lord sees everything. The Lord doesn't need eyes to see. The Lord is everywhere. And so this little boy quotes that from Tulsidas's book and says, but this is you who have written this. When you have written this, how is it that you did not see your Lord in Jagannath Puri? You should go back and find out and see if you can see your Lord. So Tulsidas, he said, yes, of course, and then he goes back to the temple, and who does he see over there? He sees his Lord Ram standing. He doesn't see Lord Jaganath. He sees his own Lord Ram standing there. And he bows down and, with tears coming out of his eyes, he said, Lord, I didn't realize it's you. It was my mistake. I forgot to see you properly. It's my fault with my eyes. So please forgive me. And so he saw, Tulsidas saw his Lord Ram in Lord Jagannath, and then he very happily he went back to his place. So and so we'll come to the pastimes a bit later, but it's the Rath Yatra and Lord Jagannath. He has he just wants to make everybody happy. We have not heard of a pastime where the Lord has actually made anyone despondent or sad. This is a Lord who makes you feel happy, and that's what I was saying right at the beginning. Why do we feel so much bliss? It says, Lord King Prataprudra, who was the king of Jagannath Puri. Once he was, whilst the Rath Yatra was the cart was going, the cart just was not moving at all. And then Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was dancing behind the cart. And so unless and until Mahaprabhu, obviously he's Lord Jagannath himself, okay? So once he saw the cart not moving, he understood. Lord Jagannath can't see him. Now he's Mahaprabhu, it's his separation, he needs to see the Lord at all times, and the Lord needs to see him at all times. Mahaprabhu realized that the cart will not move because he's come at the back of the cart. So he goes in the front, he touches his forehead to the cart, and immediately the cart starts moving. So we see that with Lord Jagannath, it is his own rule. He makes his own rule. When a few years ago, as I was going in one of the Rath Yatras, and then I had put a garland around Jagannath and then on his hand, and it somehow, because the cart was moving, it somehow fell, and I was feeling so sad because the cart was moving, it fell. And then there was this the Mataji, and she said, "Oh, Jagannath, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Just pick it up and then put it on his hand again." in Jagannath Puri, you see the people holding him, you know, holding him, some holding him on his shoulders, his hand, you know, people, sometimes they fall asleep on him, they hug him, they do any kind of thing to him, you know, all they want to do is just embrace him, or, you know, because he's huge, some holding onto his foot, some holding onto his hand, some pushing his back because he needs to be pushed and then got into the cart. Jagannath doesn't care. He's just happy that he's being handled by his devotees, and that is all he cares about. And that is how merciful Jagannath is. We see that when we think about Lord Jagannath, it reminds us more and more that it is very important that the Lord feels happy as well, because with Lord Jagannath, it is, you know, and with all devotion, devotional service is a two-way thing. And we are reminded of this, the maximum, the most, when we see Lord Jagannath. It is not, devotion is not one-sided. Krishna already loves us. Krishna gives us everything. Even to atheists, Krishna gives air and water. But when Krishna gets the chance to reciprocate and bond with his devotee very, very, very personally, so much so that people are even able to touch the devotee, people are able to see the devotee as he, you know, he goes around the entire city. That is when, you know, the Lord is also reciprocating. The devotees are showing love to him, and the Lord is reciprocating. So even on the street, even if someone just sees him, even without participating, just standing up, they get the benefit because they, you know, the Lord has reciprocated with them. So the formula for happiness is just to make Krishna happy. For us to be happy, all we have to do is to make Krishna happy. And that is what we see in Jagannath, in Rath Yatra. We are able to make Krishna happy. We are able to make Jagannath happy because we reciprocate that love of Krishna. And so before we go to the pastimes, let's look into a little bit more about, you know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagannath, they are both very, very unique forms of Krishna, unique forms of Lord Krishna, because they are both directly Lord Krishna. So when Mahaprabhu comes, he's not an avatar. He's not an incarnation. He is an avatari. So he's Krishna himself. Just like Krishna came in Dwapar Yuga, he came as himself. Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He's also the avatari. And Jagannath is Krishna himself. So they are both directly Krishna, but they are also both forms who are experiencing and displaying symptoms of separation. So that's the commonality between them. And separation from whom? Separation from the gopis, separation especially from Radharani. So because Jagannath that is the Lord in Dwarka. So he is in separation from Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, in the mood of separation. And so Prabhupada says that there's always this transcendental competition between Lord Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it intensifies during the time of Rath Yatra, that who is more in separation, Mahaprabhu or Jagannath, who is more? And sometimes when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would be in the front of the Rath, Lord Jaganath would joyfully move forward because they're both moving forward. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go at the back of the cart would just stop because Jagannath could not see Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu comes in the front again and Jagannath is able to see Mahaprabhu again, then the cart starts again. And so the cart, we are told, the cart does not move by the ropes, but the cart moves by Lord Jagannath's wishes. That's how the cart moves. Because when the Lord moves, when the Lord feels the love of his devotees, that is when the cart moves. Otherwise, the cart doesn't move. And we see that in so many pastimes, especially, in the pastime of the great devotee Salaveka. Have you heard about, has anyone heard about the Salavek? In some places he's called Salavek, in some places he's called Salabeka. So his father was, he used to work for the Nawab at the time. And then as his father, so there was instructions from the Nawab to destroy all temples. And one of the temples was the Jagannath Puri temple. And so when his father, as representing the king, came to destroy the Puri temple, his mother, who was a great devotee of Lord Jagannath, prayed to this man and said, "Please don't destroy the temple." And she said that, this lady was very, very beautiful, a very beautiful Brahmana lady. And so the man actually fell in love with the lady, but he was a Muslim and she was a Hindu from a Brahmin family. But she said, I'm ready to marry you, but on one condition, that you should not destroy or cause any harm to the temple. So at that time, it was a very, very big thing to actually a Hindu Brahmin girl to marry a Muslim person. So she became an outcast, but she remained a devout devotee. And they had a son who also joined the army, the Nawab's army. And then once, the son, whose name was Salavek, he got very, very, he was injured in the battle. And he was very, very ill, almost on the brink of death. And then his mother told him, remember Krishna. Just remember, say the name of Krishna. Remember him. And so Salavek remembered Krishna and he started chanting Krishna's name and he was cured miraculously. And then after being cured, he was so, he was so touched and moved that he came to Jagannath Puri, and then he became a great devotee. And then he left the army, he went to Vrindavan, where he composed many poems and many songs. And then once he wanted to, during Rath Yatra, he wanted to come and see the Rath Yatra. However, on his way to Puri, he became ill again, and he was praying to Jagannath, "Oh Jagannath, I wouldn't get in time, I wouldn't reach there in time to see the yatra, to see the journey. And because I'm a Muslim, I wouldn't, I'm by birth, I'm a Muslim, I wouldn't be allowed to be in your temple." And then it said that all of a sudden, as Salavek was thinking of this, all of a sudden the cart just stopped. And the cart just would not move, no matter how many people, pulled the cart would not move. It remained there. Salavek got well, and then he came, and then he took darshan of the Lord, and that is when the cart moved. And so when Salavek left his material body, I think, it's still there. I think they buried him somewhere over there, because it just shows that the Lord doesn't care. The Lord doesn't care. Rath Yatra, the cart is pulled by the Lord's wishes. It's pulled by the love of devotees, not by the ropes. And so I was, there's this Prabhuji who was saying that, we talk about rock stars. You look at you switch on the TV, just how many people do you see joining the Rath Yatra? You see big, rock concerts happening, celebrities gathering, hundreds and thousands of, people going to see celebrities. But all of them are trumped by the number of people who go to see Lord Jagannath. So who really is the rock star? The real rock star is Lord Jagannath. So many people, even people who do not know about Krishna at all, They see him, and for some reason, they feel happiness in them. And that is the power of Lord Jagannath. And so we understand, why is it that, what is it that prompted this Rath Yatra? Now, the Krishna book also describes how during a solar eclipse, all the Vrajavasis, and all the devotees from Dwarka, devotees from Hastinapur, they all came together, and they all gathered. They went to Kurukshetra during the lunar eclipse. So all the Vrajavasis were there as well. And the description is given in the Krishna book. And that is where the gopis, especially Radharani, sees Krishna. And then, and she sees Krishna and she says, "Oh, Krishna, why are you dressed like a king? This is not you. It doesn't suit you. You look better. You look handsome, more handsome in your cowherd dress. What are you wearing? Why are you on a chariot?" And so Radharani and all the gopis, they start pulling the cart, taking Krishna to Vrindavan. And that is Rath Yatra. So when we are pulling the Rath, we have to remember that when we are pulling the Rath, we are assisting Srimati Radharani. And she is the Ladini potency of the Lord, the bliss-giving potency. It is only through Srimati Radharani that, we get that bliss, that, the Lord gets bliss from her. And that is how we get happiness from. And so when we are helping with Rath Yatra, any kind of, even the smallest of service, we are actually assisting and serving Radharani. And without Radharani, there is absolutely no way we can reach Krishna. Absolutely no way. So when we make Radharani happy, we make Krishna happy. And we all come from Krishna. When Krishna becomes happy, we automatically, by default, we become happy. And we also know that everything in Vrindavan, the meeting where everybody, they just want to, even the gopis, many of whom, they want Krishna as their husband, but still they would want Krishna and Radharani to be together. And even during the rasa dance, when they suddenly lose sight of Krishna, they see footprints there and they kind of comment, "Oh, maybe he's actually disappeared with Radharani." So they all know that, and they all love having Krishna and Radharani together. And this whole, every single time, all these pastimes between Radharani and Krishna happens, everything is arranged by Vrinda Devi. And Vrinda Devi, in her form of Mother Tulsi over here, we see how if we meditate on Mother Tulsi, she would take, or Vrinda Devi, she would take away all obstacles that may come during Rath Yatra. So we can really meditate on that. And then we also remember how this form of the Lord came about. Yes, we understand that that the person, the architect, was not able to carve the Lord, and then disappeared, and the deities were only half carved. But then there is also the other reason, the actual reason that is given to us, that Mother Rohini, because Krishna, what is the real reason as to why Rath Yatra happens, and why is the Lord so happy and so keen to go on the cart? And that is because he's not able to forget Vrindavan. He's just not able to forget Vrindavan. So he wants to do this pastime with all the devotees, and he wants to remember Vrindavan. The attachment that Krishna has to the residents of Vrindavan is so very strong that despite having all the opulence and transcendental opulences rather in Dwarika, all the riches, and also having 16,908 wives and all the devotees and people in Dwarika, despite having all of this, Krishna is still not fully satisfied. He still remembers Vrindavan all the time. And then there are occasions when in the middle of the night, Krishna would just start chanting the name of Radharani. The Vrajavasis, especially Radharani, and he would just chant Radha, Radha, Radha. And so all the queens of Vrindavan, they really wanted to know, what is there in Vrindavan? Who is Radharani? What happened there? And so Mother Rohini, one day, she started telling them about Vrindavan. But then she said, you know, someone needs to guard the door, because if Krishna hears this, we will not be able to control Krishna. So they put Mother Subhadra, they closed the door and put Mother Subhadra outside to guard the door. And then Mother Rohini starts talking about the queens, about Vrindavan to the queens. And then Subhadra, she gets a bit inquisitive. She said, no, let me listen as well, because I was there. I want to listen as well. And she listens only a little bit, and she herself goes into ecstasy. I mean, ecstasy of separation, ecstasy of remembrance. And then within minutes, Krishna and Balaram comes, and they see Subhadra absolutely transfixed, her eyes big, and not able to move. She was showing signs of ecstasy. They were extremely fond of their sister, Subhadra. And so they thought, what has happened? And so then they peep through the door and they start listening to what Mother Rohini says. And then within seconds, they both go into ecstasy, especially Krishna. And that is how we see this form of the Lord coming, with big eyes, their hands in ecstasy, their hands just, go in, their feet go in. They're completely stunned, completely transfixed. And this is his attachment. This is the Lord's intense attachment to Vrindavan. And this is the Lord's intense separation from Vrindavan, from the Vrajavasis. And when he feels this intense separation from the Vrajavasis, especially Radharani, he takes on this form of Lord Jaganath. And so this form of Lord Jaganath is the feeling of separation personified. Intense, unbearable separation between Radharani and Krishna. And so in the Rath Yatra, he's returning to Vrindavan. So he's returning to Gundicha. So Gundicha temple, that signifies Vrindavan. He stays there only for some days and then he returns again. And so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu participated in Rath Yatra, he was actually, he was setting an example he was really examining, and this is what Maharaj was saying, when Mahaprabhu actually attended the Rath Yatra, he was examining Jaganath, Lord Jaganath. He was examining Lord Krishna to see if he had forgotten the residents of Vrindavan or not. And so to test Lord Jaganath, Mahaprabhu would just go behind the cart sometimes because he wanted to test if Lord Jaganath really does remember the Vrajavasis or not. But Lord Jaganath, he was, he knew what was happening, and he was really in separation. And so as soon as he could not see Mahaprabhu, who was Mahaprabhu? Mahaprabhu was Radharani, his Krishna, but in the mood of Radharani. And as soon as Lord Jaganath would not be able to see Mahaprabhu, the cart would stop. And then Mahaprabhu would understand that, he's in the mood of Radharani. He'd understand that because I have come behind, my Lord Krishna, he's missing me. And so he wants to see me. And so Mahaprabhu goes in front again. And then, Mahaprabhu thinks, oh, that means Krishna has not forgotten me. In the mood of Radharani, he's thinking, Krishna has not forgotten me. And so he has not forgotten the residents of Vrindavan. And so in this way, Kaviraj, Srila Kaviraj Goswami, he's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that in this way, Lord Jagannath or Lord Krishna is making a statement during Rath Yatra that without the Vrajavasis, especially without Radharani, there is no happiness for him. There is absolutely no happiness for Lord Krishna. And he doesn't feel the ecstasy, the transcendental bliss, the transcendental happiness, ecstasy, without Radharani and the Vrajavasis. And this is what is being established during the Rath Yatras. And, I had planned to talk about so many pastimes, but I don't think I'll have it. There's only 5 minutes left. But perhaps next day we can, some of the pastimes which I had thought I'll touch upon was the pastime of Karmabai, but you might know that already. The pastime of Haridas Thakur and Mahaprabhu. And pastime of Dasya Bauri. That is another pastime, but I don't think we'll have the time to hear the pastime. Maybe just the pastime of Haridas Thakur, because he was, again, he came from a Muslim family, so he wasn't allowed inside the temple. And so what does Jagannath do? So there is the Sudarshan Chakra, and the Lord says that, if anyone can't get into my temple, they only need to see the Sudarshan Chakra, who is non-different from me. However, Lord Jagannath, he is there. He just gives darshan to everyone. He says, so what if you cannot come out? I am going to go out and I'm going to give you darshan. And so, Lord Jagannath, in the form of Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu is none other than the Lord himself. So Mahaprabhu himself gave darshan to Haridas Thakur every single day. He used to go to the house of Haridas Thakur every single day, taking prasad from the Jagannath Puri temple. And so that is how much Lord Jagannath loves his disciples. And we also see how there's this disciple called Dasya Bauri, who, and I was mentioning this briefly the other day, how he was from a low caste, not very rich, and he made a rice cake which he wanted to offer to Lord Jagannath. And there was a passerby, and he gave that to the rice cake to the passerby, saying, if you're going to Puri, can you please give this to Lord Jagannath? And it seems that when that rice cake actually reached the temple, the Lord, although he had, short arms, he had actually, stretched hands, because he was just so eager to receive that almost, that tiny, tiny rice cake, that dry rice cake, because the Lord was eagerly waiting to, embrace that love of his devotee through that rice cake. And so we see with Lord Jagannath, we see especially in the pastime of Karmabai, we see that there is faith and love and devotion over rituals for Lord Jagannath. It does not matter, who is there, which caste, what background. Lord Jagannath gives his, blessings to every single person, whoever comes across in their way. And so it's the divine love we have to remember when we are talking about, Rath Yatra, when we are talking about, Lord Jagannath meeting his devotees as he's on the cart, we have to remember this divine love of Lord Jagannath. And so as we conclude our session today, because it's time, there's just not time enough to talk about Lord Jagannath. You can go on and on. But perhaps we can finish on the meditation of what Rupa Goswami, he writes in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. He talks about, 64 principal ways of devotion. And of those 64 principles, some of those are offering obeisances. Some of those are, standing up and showing respect to the Lord, standing up and showing respect to devotees, smelling the incense or smelling the flowers offered to the deity, and eating prasadam. These are some of the things that are referred to as ways of devotion that increases devotion. And so when we think about this and we think about Lord Jagannath on his way out, okay, how is he going? How is he, we see people, he's pulling sometimes as, when he's actually being pulled into the car and, pushed into, he's almost pushed into the car. People are holding him from the right, from the left, from the back, from the front. So he's sometimes, falling sideways, falling right, falling left, anywhere. And it seems as if, he's like a drunkard. It's almost like he's like intoxicated. And so he's being pulled and pushed, going front and back. And so what does it remind? What is he intoxicated with? He's drunk and is intoxicated with separation from his devotees. And so he's so eager to get onto that, to go onto the Rath and then, see everybody, go out and see everybody. And so he falls each way. And then, sometimes his face is this way, sometimes it's that way. And then whenever, whichever way people are standing, some people stand up. Some people don't even know who Krishna is. They just stand up seeing the crowd. Some people, somehow a flower reaches them and they smell that flower. Some people are devotees and they pay obeisances to the devotees and to Lord Jagannath. But every single person, whether they know who Lord Jagannath is or whether they don't, they somehow feel that the Lord is actually directly looking at me. He's falling this way, he's falling that way, but he's actually looking at me. He's talking to me, he's trying to say something to me. And what is he trying to say? All he's trying to say is that, he loves me very much. And by showing us, by going on that Rath Yatra, all Lord Jagannath tells us again, once again, is that how much he loves us and how eager he is to receive love in return from us. And that is the reason with Lord Jagannath, if I go back to where I started, it is completely that Rath Yatra, we are coming up to Rath Yatra over here, it is completely organized by Lord Jagannath. Everything is decided by him. Sometimes there may seem to be chaos, but even within that chaos, Lord Jagannath ensures that every single thing falls into place. And the only remembrance people take away after Rath Yatra is the remembrance and the feeling of complete and utter bliss and happiness and satisfaction. And that is what Rath Yatra is. And that is what Lord Jagannath, Mother Subhadra, and Lord Baladev brings to us during Rath Yatra. So with that, I finish this discussion. If I've made any mistakes, please do forgive me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for immersing us into this love. And last Saturday, we had our Rath Yatra in Nairobi. And today, when you described everything, how Lord Jagannath moves this way and that way, it reminds us of that day that we were in association with him. So thank you so much for taking us back there. Mataji, I have a small question about Neela Madhava. Does that temple exist or it just disappeared now? Mataji, you are muted.
What's happening? Yeah, okay. Mataji, I think the temple that flew into flames at the time when the king and his men visited. So there was no deity, and the temple also was destroyed. But I think I think they rebuilt a temple over there on the same site again. So, but obviously, it's a different deity over there. But I'll have to just check on that again. But at the time when the king visited, both the Nil Madhava and the temple that was destroyed at the time. But later on, I think something was rebuilt at the same site. And the Sabari chief, they are the Sabari tribe. They are still over there worshipping worshipping the deity over there at present. Yeah. But yes, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Are there any questions or comments for today's session? Anyone in the group? If there are no questions or comments, maybe I can hand over to Path Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams to you. Are you able to end the session for us today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your nice nectarian class. The pastimes of Lord Jaganath. It is very nice. And today is the return Rath Yatra, return Yatra to this main temple. So it is very nice. And you are giving the nectarian description. And whatever tell, it was already described in Skanda Puran also, which very vividly describe about Lord Jagannath, how he come, like Krishna, how he appeared in Nilamadhav, then he transferred into the wooden log, then he instruct Radha Indradumna to manifest me. And by his mercy, this figure is coming like that. It is also things that, and also Padma Purana also same thing. Also there is another Puran, it is called Madala Panji. It was a very ancient scripture since Satya Yuga. How many Satya Yuga we don't know, but that one still there, and it is some plate. It was written like some copper plate or like that, and so many things it is there. And really, the Krishna, and we are so grateful by the mercy of Prabhupada. He established it and started Sri Jagannath Rath Yatra everywhere, so that everybody getting the chance to see Lord and participate with the program, and they are benefited. Because
Yes.
this is the Lord Krishna is so merciful to his children, because we are the part and parcel of Lord, but sometimes we forget Krishna. Sometimes we have so much busy work, busy schedule. We don't visit to the temple, but Krishna is so merciful. He told, I will come to visit you. I will come to shower my blessings to you. So we can imagine how Krishna loves us.
Yeah.
If someone is just see Lord in a in a chariot or in a 80 days when staying in Adapa Mandapa, he is liberated. It's not nothing. Also, many people in Jagannath Puri, you are getting chance, you can go and show it is called Patita Pavan, also in the front. You don't need to, even you are busy also, God is so merciful. It's the same figure, same same image, but the shape is small. It is in one side, in the right side of the entrance. So some people, because Jagannath temple is so far, where Jagannath is situated, is so far. If you want to go, also taking 10 minutes, if you straight away you want to go. But if you parikrama, then it's taking 1 hour more. But my people are busy. But many people they came. I saw many people they came. They just came and saw from the road. That is called Patita Pavan. The same Jagannath. Also, if someone can just see the wheel on the top of the temple, that is called Nila Chakra. Yes. Also, someone can see the flags. That is also, he can get the same benefit. And when he saw the God who is coming outside with his siblings, and how is merciful. Yes. So this is the thing. And we supposed to be, we are so fortunate by the mercy of Prabhupada, everyone getting chance, all over the world, people are getting chance. And that is so miracle. And we are really fortunate by the mercy of Prabhupada in this Kali Yuga, because people are so far from the Odisha in India, they can't travel all the times. But we are here, we are listening the Katha of Jagannath Katha, Jagannath pastimes, Rath Yatra, celebrating, cooperating. So that is a very nice, very amazing way. Thank you, Mataji, for your nice nectarian class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And as I was saying, there are just so many pastimes, you know, his pastimes
So
with
many.
Lord Hanuman, his pastimes with the devotees. It's just endless pastimes. And the more, each one is more and more nectarian than the other. So, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for
Yes, yes. It's because he's God himself, he resides. And if you can go, every temple there is a Sringara, that means decoration. We are doing as usual in the morning time. But Jagannath temple is night time.
Yes.
Because there is night time they are doing the decoration after 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever this wish. Because that time the demigods are came to see him.
Yes.
And daytime he's just like a Gopabalak, like a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. So that there is no too much decoration, no shringar. So this is the mood. And very nice. It is very nice. And it's also one dham. Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya established at Jagannath Puri, also one dham. There is significance.
Yes.
And Krishna resides there, Jagannath resides there,
Yes.
so blissful. So that he removed his eyelid, you can imagine, to see my devotee. Even 1 minute, he don't want to, if I put my eyelid, so maybe my devotee cannot see, or I cannot see my devotee, so that he remove his eyelid. So how much people, it's so grateful here, yes. So many pastimes, like you are told, so many pastimes. And all the devotees across the world, they came, whatever they desire, like the God, you told the Ram, my God is your worshipful Lord is a Ramchandra. He also signed a Ramchandra form. Someone come, the Buddha form. Someone come, Ganesh is Ganesh form. Someone come, Krishna is Krishna form. Wherever you want, he's there for the pleasure of the devotee. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I thank you very much to everyone. Also, please unmute yourself. You are joining very nicely nectarian class. It is our gratitude to show our gratitude to Panchali Mataji to giving this one nectarian class. Please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for glorification of Hare Krishna Panchali Mataji. Please join. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha kalpatarurubhyascha
Krishna
Sindhubhyaveva Patitanam Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Panchali Karmata ji ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Thank you so much.
Ananta Koti Krishna Vrinda ki
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Matajis.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Sorry
Class.
again, I couldn't complete everything, but hopefully, you know, I'll be able to, you know, cover some bits in you know, following classes. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.